How you doing? This is Chris Weidman, and welcome to Ringside Report Radio.
Hey, this is Matt Serra, former UFC welterweight champion, and you're listening to Ringside Report Radio. Keep listening or I'll throw you in an arm lock.
Are you interested in Court McGee, Robert Whittaker? I am. 2 Ultimate Fighter winners. That's a good fight, man. Welterweight division, Whittaker won tough smashes. He's 2-0 now in the UFC, just 22 years old. Court McGee won the Ultimate Fighter Season 11. He's 28 years old. McGee, 15 wins, 3 losses. Whittaker, 11 wins, 2 losses. McGee coming off a decision victory over Josh Neer February 23rd. That was his first drop, actually, to 170 pounds. While Whittaker coming off a third-round TKO win over Colton Smith on May the 25th. This is an interesting matchup here. Whittaker actually trained in Montreal at the TriStar Gym leading into this fight. He's originally from Australia, while Court McGee is from Utah but trains out of San Diego, California. Also trains at the Pit in California with John Hackelman, famed coach for Chuck Liddell. Court McGee is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt with some heavy hands, 7 of 15 wins by submission with 5 decision and 3 knockout victories. McGee has lost 3 times in his career, never been finished though. All decision losses. Jeremy Horn decisioned him in 2007, Costa Philippou in 2012, and Nick Ring later that year in 2012. So then McGee decided, look, I'm not big enough to compete with these middleweights. They're just sitting on me and outsizing me. I'm going to drop down to welterweight, and he did so successfully in his last bout. While Whittaker, a young guy, just 22 years old, 2-0 in the UFC. He has lost just twice in his career. Submitted once and lost once by decision. His submission loss was in 2011 to a 9-9 fighter named Hoon Kim. Whittaker, heavy hands, 5 wins by knockout, 5 wins by submission, and 1 win by decision for 11 total victories. Odds makers right now like Robert Whittaker, minus 150 the favorite, Court McGee plus 120 the dog. Kevin picked Robert Whittaker. I'm going to go with Court McGee in this one. I think that the matchup favors a Court McGee. I think that Whittaker is a guy with a lot of heart, a good chin, and some heavy hands, but I believe that Court McGee is the same way. A lot of heart, good chin, heavy hands. Neither man has ever been knocked out. I think the advantage here goes to Court McGee in experience. He has more professional bouts than Robert Whittaker. He is older than Robert Whittaker. He's been fighting for 2 years longer as a professional than Robert Whittaker. And he's also got something very special, which is called a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that Robert Whittaker does not possess. Whittaker's been submitted before. McGee has a majority of his wins by submission. I think that the ground game will be the advantage here for the American Ultimate Fighter winner. Plus 120 the underdog. I think Court McGee will pull it off as an upset pick here. I'm going to go with the bearded one, Court McGee.
I'm going to follow you also. I have the impression that Court McGee is a bigger, stronger fighter also than Whittaker. I might be wrong because I haven't seen that much of Whittaker other than his 2 UFC fights. But if I have to imagine them both standing next to each other,
yeah,
I imagine Court McGee to be a little bit more physically impressive and use his strength to dominate. You mentioned the grappling and everything, so I got to go with Court McGee also.
You know, this was a really tough fight to break down for me, and I actually went back and watched Colton Smith, Robert Whittaker again. And I noticed something with Robert Whittaker. The guy was almost knocked out in the first round. He was very nearly knocked out. Colton Smith landed some big shots. That fight was like a war. They went back and forth, and they really both landed heavy shots. I think Court McGee is more technical and a better striker than Colton Smith. And I think, you know, McGee could also knock out Robert Whittaker in this fight. It's an interesting matchup, and I think one of the tougher ones to call, but I'm going to go with Court McGee. Fred goes with Court McGee as well. Kevin picked Robert Whittaker when he gave us our picks, gave us his picks on Wednesday night. Let's get to the next fight here. This one, another 170-pound bout. Kelvin Gastelum, another Ultimate Fighter winner. They're all over the place here. Kelvin Gastelum just won the Ultimate Fighter, a split decision win over Uriah Hall on April 13th to win the Ultimate Fighter Season 17. That was at middleweight, and this will be his first drop down to welterweight. Not too bad. The guy's already won the Ultimate Fighter at middleweight. He's undefeated, 6-0 as a pro, just 21 years old, has been fighting since 2010, beat Bubba McDaniel, Colin Hart, and Josh Saman on the Ultimate Fighter on Team Chael Sonnen. He was actually Chael Sonnen's last pick in the Ultimate Fighter draft and wound up winning the whole thing. He's from Yuma, Arizona, and is a purple belt in 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. His opponent is Brian Melancon, a 7-2 fighter, coming off a first-round knockout win over the very tough Seth Baczynski on July the 6th. Melancon, 4 of 7 wins by knockout, 2 decisions, and 1 submission. Melancon 1-0 in the UFC on a 2-fight win streak. He is 10 years older than Gastelum at 31 years of age. He's from Houston, Texas, and a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt. Melancon plus 195, the underdog. Gastelum minus 250, the favorite. I agree with the odds makers. I'm going with Kelvin Gastelum. He is a hard-nosed wrestler, very good grappling. And Brian Melancon has lost twice by decision. I think this is probably how it's going to go down. Maybe a knockout victory, a TKO with Gastelum just beating him up with some ground and pound. Gastelum is a very good grappler, good ground and pound, good submissions as well. I could see him choking out Melancon. I could see him knocking him out, or I could see him riding through a decision. Not sure if he's going to finish the guy, but I am quite certain he's going to beat the guy. I like Kelvin Gastelum in a major way to beat Brian Melancon on Wednesday night. Kevin picked him too. Fred, where are you going on this one?
I'm going to follow you and Kevin, and you mentioned him going down at welterweight. I actually like it. I think why waste time at middleweight? He's a newcomer in the UFC, even though he's the Ultimate Fighter winner. I mean, there's a lot of Ultimate Fighter winners right now, so winning the Ultimate Fighter does not mean you're getting a top contender right away.
Right.
So he might as well go down to 170 where he feels more at his size, where people are more of his size.
Makes sense to me. And you got to realize that this guy is a true talent. Just 21 years old, undefeated in MMA, won the Ultimate Fighter outside of his weight class, the dark horse throughout the entire competition, and now dropping to 170. With an impressive victory here at 170 pounds, you got to look at Kelvin Gastelum as having one hell of a future in mixed martial arts. I think the guy has already proven he's very good. And he's going to prove a lot more going forward. I believe in Kelvin Gastelum. I really do. I think this guy has some tremendous potential.
You're just happy because you picked him to win back then.
I picked him to beat Uriah Hall. Hey, nobody else did. No, I really believe he's got potential, though. I think he's a very good fighter. When you have that grappling, when you have that jiu-jitsu, when you have that finishing ability, there's something to be said for that. There's a killer instinct that Kelvin Gastelum has that I don't think you can't teach that.
That Uriah Hall would have needed.
Yes. That's what Uriah Hall lacks, the killer instinct. Kelvin Gastelum does not give a damn. He's going to go in there and beat you. He doesn't care who you are. He doesn't care how good you are, what name you have, what you've done to other people. He doesn't care. He's going to play his game. He's not afraid of you, and he's going to beat you. And that's a scary type of dude. He's got confidence, and the confidence is building. That's a guy that can do damage in any weight division. Somebody with confidence, undefeated, momentum. I believe in momentum in MMA. That's why I picked Matt Brown to knock out Mike Pyle. Matt Brown had all the momentum going into that fight. And he knocked out Mike Pyle.